Interdimensional Light Language. Part 2 of Becoming a Golden One. January 28, 2017. By Shayir through Su Lai. Hello dear Earthlings whom I can perceive, but I am not sure if you can perceive me, or even our starship. I am Shayir, returned to tell you more about my life on the starship. Let me tell you how we can perceive you from our ships. I say ships, plural, because now that I am on the starship, I can see that there is an armada of ships that awaits the now to reveal themselves on the threshold of the fourth and fifth dimension. The ships must remain cloaked or they could be observed from Earth. However, they often make their cloaking look like a cloud that seems to take on the shape of a starship. Actually, it is the starship that is taking on the appearance of a cloud. The above picture was taken at night with a cell phone, a filter used in the above picture. Those who are ready to accept that their galactic family is here to assist them can look into the skies to see the cloud that reminds them that they are not alone. We do not want to make our ships too obvious yet, as the Illuminati could also observe us and would likely step up their nefarious deeds. In fact, that stepping up is already occurring. We are sorry that many of the teens will not be able to have their usual time to act out and discover themselves, as the teens who are at all awake to their true self will be called on to awaken others as soon as possible. By awaken others, I mean that they seek out those who are aware of their galactic heritage. Once they are aware of their true, galactic self, they will likely begin their process of transmutation into light body. This process begins with knowing about the innate light body that lies within the Kundalini waiting within the base of your spine. Once your light body begins its activation process, your innate knowledge of light language will steadily come online within your consciousness. Eventually, light language will be your primary means of communication. That is, light language will be your primary interdimensional language, as your third-dimensional language will still be expressed via separate words strung together into separate sentences to create separate messages. I have recently discovered that my task on the ship is to be among the many teens on the ship whose mission is to deal directly with the teens and young adults on Earth who are consciously, or unconsciously, preparing for planetary ascension. The teens will still have their teenaged rebellion, which is a normal part of breaking away from childhood and preparing to be an adult. However, within their rebellion will not be against your parental authority figures. Instead, you will be rebelling against the Illuminati authority figures. Gaia has indeed gone into her darkest night before the dawn, and this is especially true for the United States, which was assigned to be the flashpoint for ascension. Please remember that in order to jump high, one must first bend down low to gain the momentum for change. When the darkness is hidden, it is easier for humanity to ignore it. If it does not affect me, what do I care? Say the complacent/frightened one. From this perspective, being complacent is actually being afraid to face the truth. Besides, continue the complacent ones, I have to work hard in order to pay my bills and support my family. I am busy enough just trying to make ends meet. Just making ends meet, yes, it will indeed be great when it ends. But do not despair because within your third-dimensional reality, there must be an ending of the old in order to have the beginning of the new. What old are you talking about? I can hear you ask that question because I am on a starship. I am talking about the constant constraint of power over others that has become very old for all of you on Earth. Because I am on the ship, I can clearly determine the difference between the lies and deceptions of the third/fourth dimensional Earth and the clarity and unconditional love of the fifth dimensional starship. Yes, it is helpful that I am a teenager on the ship because I have my natural rebellion against that which was of the former generation, as well as a rebellion against that which I do not want to accept as my reality. I, like more and more other teens, are eager to create our new world, and we are willing to rebel against that which the generations above cannot see because they are too busy working hard to just get by. I could see that with my friends' parents on Earth. I can perceive from the ship that it is still occurring on Earth. From here on the ship, myself and all the other members of the ship, can observe how the adults on Earth feel as though they must turn a blind eye to what is occurring because they are just too busy. However, the teens are not too busy. Also, they are old enough to see the greater world, and young enough to know that they will have to live in that world for a long time if they don't do something to change it before it begins. But what can I do? I am just a teenager, I hear some of my friends on Earth say. I wish to tell them that they must look inside to find their answer. You all have the answers inside of you, no matter what your age. It was because of my teenaged perspective that I was asked to share my starship perspective of ascension with those who are still earthbound. They also chose me because they wanted a teenager to speak with the teens of Earth. Perhaps they also chose me because they can see my possible reality of being a Golden One. Personally, I do really understand what a Golden One is, but I am flattered by their trust in me. However, I am also frightened by that challenge. This fear concerns me because it is very unique, and almost unheard of, to experience any form of fear on the ship. However, what frightens me is the path I see before me, which is also the path that lies before my generation on Earth. From the now of the fifth-dimensional starship, I can see that our generation will have the possible reality of experiencing planetary ascension. I can also perceive from here, that we may be quite young in our adulthood when that opportunity occurs. That perception makes me very happy, but also greatly challenged. What if we cannot put aside our selfish ways? I instantly hear in my consciousness that I had come to the ship to do that very thing, to put away my selfish ways. This shift in our perception, as well as our means of expression, leads me to speak about light language. Because our innate ability to speak and hear light language is automatically activated as soon as we enter the fifth-dimensional frequency of the ship, it is not something that we have to learn or study. Before I came to the ship, I spoke and heard individual words. However, as soon as I bonded with the others on the ship, which I shared in my last transmission, I began to remember how to speak and hear light language. This process of learning a new language is much like the process that we followed when we first learned to speak as toddlers on Earth. Let me take a moment now to remind you that on Earth we only use about 2% of our brain. The reason why that occurs is because our consciousness is so focused on growing up and surviving in that world, that our brains forget to expand our consciousness enough to activate the higher dimensional areas of our brain. Yes, even on Earth, our brain is multidimensional and can naturally communicate with all life. However, we are so busy getting by that we do not recognize, or open, those areas of our computer brain. Here on the ship, we are completely safe and totally surrounded with unconditional love and acceptance. Therefore, outside of the visitors section, our innate ability to speak light language is activated. This activation of our light language is much like the activation of 3D language that occurs when babies become toddlers on Earth. However, on Earth you must learn/remember how to speak human language. Conversely, on the ship, our light language is just there, in a similar manner in which your ability to hear is just there. Now that statement leads me into a description of how we hear via light language. How can you hear light? Well, you don't really hear it. Instead, you feel it within your aura. On Earth, your aura is largely forgotten, but on the multidimensional starships, your fourth-dimensional aura is a natural component of your body, as is your fifth-dimensional light body. On the ship, everyone can see everyone's aura as clearly as they can see everyone's physical body on physical Earth. It is the fact that everyone can see everyone's aura that makes light language the normal manner of communication. You see, your aura is also connected to, and merged with your light body. Some of you have activated your fourth-dimensional astral body, which allows you to better remember your dreams and to be more dedicated to the fulfillment of your creative desires. Fortunately, because the frequency of Gaia is rising, many of you are remembering more of your dreams and remember to perceive, attend, and fulfill your inner aspirations. Therefore, you are living more and more within the resonance of the fourth dimension. Your expanded perceptions expand your self-esteem enough for you to dedicate your efforts towards fulfilling your inner, creative urges. As you make more and more creative choices, and as Earth returns more and more to her innate, fifth-dimensional resonance, your consciousness will steadily expand to include the frequency of the fifth dimension. However, the lower frequencies of power over others must be totally released before Gaia can fully return her planetary consciousness into her innate fifth-dimensional expression. It was never meant for Gaia to be a third-dimensional planet. Unfortunately, the destruction of her brother planet Moldyuk, the invasion of the Illuminati into her other brother planet Mars, as well as her Earth, and the great destruction during the fall of Lemuria and then Atlantis, Gaia's resonance was lowered into the third and lower fourth dimension. These events also lowered her planetary consciousness. Gaia's planetary consciousness means the frequency of her resonance, also known as the Schumann resonance. Gaia was once a fifth-dimensional planet, but she fell into the lower resonance of a third/fourth-dimensional planet. We on the ship think of Gaia as a living, breathing, loving being who is ready to ascend beyond her lower third/fourth-dimensional resonance to return back to her innate fifth-dimensional resonance. Just as humanity can deeply regress because of great trauma during their formative years, planets, especially Gaia, can suffer the same loss of self. Because Gaia lost so much of her planetary self during the destruction of Lemuria and Atlantis, she was unable to shake off the lower frequencies of reality that chose to harm her planetary body, rather than love her planetary body. While humanity's consciousness is limited to the third dimension, they can only perceive the planet as a thing. Fortunately, as humanity moves into higher, fourth-dimensional consciousness, humanity will be able to perceive Gaia as a living thing. For most of humanity, it is only when they are able to expand their consciousness into the fifth dimension and beyond that they are able to realize that all of Gaia is alive. Interestingly, the belief that all of Gaia was alive was very common with primitive humanity. But this primitive humanity was invaded by those who lived by the laws of power over others. This invasion still occurs today as power over others seeks to rape the land to gain more money and the power that money has given them. However, money is a third-dimensional concept that was created so that the few could have power over the many. As Gaia returns to her innate fifth-dimensional resonance, with or without the assistance of humanity, the separation between the concepts of the few and the many becomes the concept of the one. Another concept that will disappear in the fifth dimension is the concept that the strips of paper, most of which are not backed by gold, give you power within your life, as well as over your life. Money will be one of the very first illusions that will be released as Gaia expands into her innate fifth-dimensional resonance. Also, those who can expand their consciousness to remain in alignment with Gaia's ascension will resonate far beyond the reach of those who wish to control or have power over others. The control of power over others is a third-dimensional illusion that will disappear in the fifth dimension, along with the 3D matrix, which created the separation and power over others. The 3D matrix has held Gaia hostage for far too much of her time. As Gaia returns to her true, fifth-dimensional resonance, the 3D matrix will disappear as easily as the dark clouds disappear at the end of a long storm. Gaia has lived within a storm of greed, selfishness, and power over others for millennia. We, the members of your galactic family, are here now to assist you to remember that you are all multidimensional beings who have come to Earth to assist with planetary ascension. I, Shayir, remind you that, just as I now resonate to a higher frequency, you, too, can resonate to a higher frequency. As you follow the stream of awakening that you feel within, this stream will transmute into an ocean of change. I, Shayir, now close my transmission with unconditional love, as well as gratitude that I have been graced with the ability to perceive reality from the higher perspective of one of the galactic starship. Blessings to you all. I look forward to our next conversation. If you have any questions you wish to ask me, just place them in the comments sections, and I will be happy to respond. With love and light. Shayir.
If you enjoy these messages, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.